and welcome to another A Tippling Philosopher video. Today I'm going to speak about God's omniscience, his divine foreknowledge. If we are going to assume this classical understanding of God that he has, he's all loving, all powerful and all knowing, concentrating particularly on all knowing, this kind of knowledge for many theists includes divine foreknowledge. So God knows in advance of anything ever happening what will come to pass. And his divine foreknowledge is infallible. It can't go wrong. Now, forget all the myriad problems this brings about with regard to free will. We'll forget that one. We're going to talk about God's free will. So, God knows indubitably what will come to pass. And this, of course, includes his own actions. So it's long been understood that with this omniscience, he cannot be contrary to his own predictions. For example, if you were claimed to be omniscient and omnipotent, and you predicted beforehand, that you would make yourself spaghetti bolognese for supper on Friday, right? And when it came to making that food on Friday, you would have no choice but to make spaghetti bolognese. This is because if you had decided to be contrary to your own prediction and cook, say, pizza, then your prediction would have been incorrect. And this would render your omniscience faulty and will leave you with the characteristic of fallibility. So if your foreknowledge is infallible, and if you are a perfect God, right, you cannot be wrong about your predictions. So what you know about what you will do in the future is infallible. So you know every single thing you will do yourself in the future. So God having this omniscience, because he has that divine foreknowledge, really affects his omnipotence greatly, because he can't do something that would invalidate, or can't do anything that would invalidate his infallible predictions. Logically, God can never be contrary to his own predictions, and this constrains his own free will quite significantly. However, it's more serious than this, because if he's creating the universe and knowing every particular outcome, even if one argues that he's somehow still allowing free will, that he has made predictions about every event that will come to pass. However, it's far more serious than this. If he's creating the universe and knowing every particular outcome, even if one argues that he is somehow still allowing free will, then he has made predictions about every event that will come to pass. His foreknowledge is effectively one long prediction. Thus, from the beginning of time onwards, everything must come to pass exactly as God has predicted at the actualization of the cosmos. This has far-reaching consequences. God does not have free will. Intercessory prayer is pointless. So if you're going to pray to God and ask something to come about that wasn't going to come about anyway, it's pointless. You cannot get God to change his mind, to bring something to pass, because that would mean his own predictions were infallible. Of course, God can't change his mind at all. God's own future and interferences on earth are determined, and the passage of the Bible where God changed his mind over the fate of Nineveh is patently false. So you can see that this is thoroughly problematic. Now, in a future video, I would like to discuss the implications this has on deliberation. So God can't even think about making a choice, because if God predicts from the beginning of time that he's going to make choice B over A, right? So he's got A and B. He's going to choose B at a particular time. He's not going to choose A. Then there is this idea that he can't even think about choosing, because, well, at least there's no point in thinking about choosing, because he knows he's always going to choose B and then has to make that choice. And so there is no pragmatic use of deliberation. And then you think, well, thinking, but then if he's predicted how he should have his own divine foreknowledge of his own thought processes in the future, so therefore he can't make changes in thought processes, and then you get this kind of feedback loop that's really funky to do with divine foreknowledge and thinking, and being able to think differently from how he initially predicted he would think. And there's a potential that it gets completely screwed up, but at any rate, it just shows you how utterly problematic divine foreknowledge is. There are lots of issues with divine foreknowledge, and I do understand why certain theists reject it, prefer things like open theism and whatnot, because there is no way of making sense of divine foreknowledge. But anyway, this is one particular problem. He cannot act contrary to his own predictions, and he lives on these straight tracks, and he can't deviate from those tracks in any way. So there's no real ability to choose otherwise than his own predictions. So there you go. Anyway, a short one this time, but check out my blog, which will be linked below, and please buy some merchandise or buy me a coffee to help me to sustain being able to do my blog and these videos. Take it easy. Goodbye.